Everyone, welcome to the May operator SIG call. Apologies for not having this in the past few. We got caught up in some US holidays and other things like that. So glad to be back on the regular track. We've got a pretty short agenda today, so if folks want to get anything added to it, if you want to show off any of your operators, things you've been working on, we can totally do that. The first thing, well, let me introduce myself for folks that are new. I'm Rob Szumski. I'm a PM at Red Hat that looks after a lot of the operator framework components, so the SDK and the operator lifecycle manager, operatorhub.io, our operator certification program, just generally moving the community forward. So we're really happy to have you here. Today I wanted to highlight some new additions to operatorhub.io. There's some really cool stuff happening there. And then just show off some of the operator-related events that are going to be happening at KubeCon EU, if you happen to be going to that, or if you want to catch a recording afterwards. And then we've got kind of some open discussion about anything that folks want to bring up on the call. So with that, I'm just going to share my screen is the easiest way to talk through operatorhub.io. Right now, we've got 37 operators in the hub. I think the last time that we talked about it on this call, there were about like 12 or 14. It was kind of like launch day. So, you know, we've more than doubled, which is great. So we've got a bunch of cool ones. I mean, there's a ton to talk about since we were last here. I think Aqua Security's operator has just been added since then. This is their security agent that helps you get their hook up to their infrastructure for doing container scanning. I think the Amazon Service Operator was there. Camel K is a new one that's a part of the Knative framework. So if you're familiar with Knative, it's kind of like a Kubernetes serverless offering, which is pretty cool. CockroachDB is a new one, and this one is cool. I believe that this is a Helm chart-based operator, so using our Helm SDK. You know, I think a lot of the operators we have right now are the pretty sophisticated Go ones, so that's pretty cool to see that there. New is also the Crunchy Postgres operator. This is probably one of the oldest operators in existence, and they've been working really hard on it and modernizing it with some of the best practices from the SDK and the lifecycle manager, so we're really glad to have that there. Also joined is the Sysdig Falco operator. So this is designed to detect, you know, kind of interesting behavior that you need to take a look at and hooked up into the Sysdig suite of kind of container native monitoring and DevOps tools. So that's very cool. Federator AI, this is a pretty cool one. They put like an AI spin on doing Kube kind of like configuration management and like workload bin packing. So if you want to, let's just go look at their description. So you kind of can do things for auto scaling like this node pool or that node pool based on some automation that they have in there, which is a pretty cool one. So we're starting to see these operators get smarter and smarter. You know, if you're familiar with our maturity model, we want to see folks get as far over into this phase 5 as possible. You know, this like the smartest cloud service that you can ever imagine. It's doing a bunch of auto scaling, config tuning, so this starts to get really far into that, which is pretty cool. Some of the things that are new, Hazelcast, if you're familiar with their product, they've got an operator that installs that. Same with Infinispan and Instana, once again, kind of on the DevOps and metrics collection. This is their agent that connects into their infrastructure. Really exciting, along with Camel K, is we've got some other ones for Istio and Kiali. These are service mesh components. So if you're familiar with the idea of, you know, running all your network traffic through one of these service meshes, it provides a ton of value. But it, you know, it can be a little bit hard to set up. So these operators kind of do all that for you. We got Kong, KubeVirt, MicroRocks. Take a look at these. They're all, I think, fairly new as well. And then we've got some of the other stuff from Tremelo Security and Spinnaker, if you're familiar with, is a deployments tool, which is pretty cool. I think this was spun out of at least a Google white paper. I don't know if it was a Google originated open source project. I think we had a lot of these already. Robin Storage is new. So they've got a storage layer that's kind of focused on big data and empowering some of those workloads. There's also Storage OS, which is a more kind of generic storage layer. And then Rook, once again, on the storage side, is once again a very old operator, very mature operator that is doing really awesome. I think that's mostly it. I think another SysTig agent. This is for kind of their overall monitoring. And yeah, a few other ones. So check it out. Really cool stuff. So you can install these all on any kube cluster. And so we've got some instructions if you click on the install section here if you're not familiar with that. So it's really cool. We got a bunch of PRs in flight as well to add all kinds of other operators. So it's great to see this community alive and thriving. And thank you all for all the work that you've done. If you've listed your operator or if you're planning to, if you're building one, we're really looking forward to seeing that. All right, moving on to our next topic. I just collected a really quick list of some of the operator sessions at KubeCon, and I'll send this out to the mailing list as a response to my message. And we already talked about the Red Hat operator workshop. The only reason I bring this up is it's sold out, but we're doing it around a number of different conferences. And so, KubeCon in the US and other kind of major open source conferences, we hope to run this workshop. So if you've got folks that are interested in that, stay tuned. This next one, really cool. Databases are the most popular form of operators, I would say, in this kind of like we're at the beginning phases of this movement, so Neo4j is going to be talking through what their operator looks like and how it does, day 2 and beyond operations. So that would be a really cool one to check out. This one is pretty cool. Installing this automated canary testing and doing that and driving that via an operator. So that's from some folks at Amadeus, who are a great Red Hat partner, and then Datadog, also a great Red Hat partner. Next one, Zalando and their Elasticsearch operator. They've been on this journey for a while now, so it'd be a cool update to see that. They build several other popular operators as well, and they've got some really advanced infrastructure going on over there. So check that one out. Upbound, writing robust operators, of course, near and dear to all of our hearts. Upbound are the folks that are also doing a lot of development on the Rook Ceph operator that we just looked at. Red Hat is also a big participant in that community. I don't know much about Ant Financial, but they've got 2 different sessions, actually. This is their first one on large-scale distributed learning, managed by operators. I think we'll see AI and ML being one of the next major phases of operator adoption, just because of those tech stacks are extremely complex, but really, really powerful and hits your business, the bottom line, once you have it up. So that'll be really cool. Then Ant Financial has another one in conjunction with Alibaba about just managing CRDs and operators, and once you've got a bunch of these on the cluster. I hope they'll be talking about OLM. I don't have a preview of that. So that should be a good one as well. I'm going to try to hit a bunch of these, so hope to see y'all there if you're going to KubeCon. So that's kind of the main part of the agenda. I think we'll have the rest of the call open for folks to just talk about kind of what's going on, what are you working on, any problems you have. I'd like to have a more structured conversation about the operator binding and some of that type of stuff at a later date. Just when we're more prepared, I want to make sure that folks will have some proposals that they're there to talk about. So I think we can open it up if folks have any other topics that they want to bring up. All right, this might be a short call. I used a different blue jeans since Diana was out, so hopefully there aren't folks in the other one that we usually use, which might be the case. Actually, this is a great topic. Would it help y'all to have a calendar invite that I'll manage or Diane will manage, and we'll just add and remove people as they want to be? That way you get all the alerts and we can, update the agenda and the description. Would that be a helpful thing?
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay, I think we should probably go ahead and do that. I've seen some of the other SIGs do this, and I think then I wish there was like a way to have a public calendar invite, but I don't think Google Calendar lets you do that. So it would be
So,
like,
Rob,
oh, email somebody.
what you can
What's
do
up?
is if we set up a Google group that everybody goes and subscribes to, you can send a calendar invite to that Google group, and the calendar invite will actually be sent to anybody who actually joins after that. And you can just manage the calendar invite from either you or Diane, or both of you. And you
Okay,
can just do
well,
that.
yeah, we've already got a Google group, so perfect. I mean, I'll just invite everybody on the mailing list. Is that an annoying thing if folks don't want to go?
No, I mean, people will just tell you that they're not going to go, and then you get all those responses back. So set up a
Yeah,
filter. But
fair. Yeah, okay. I think we should just go ahead and do that. I'll do that when I send the recap. We'll establish one for the next time. Um, yeah, so what's going on in operator land? Matt, I know you're working with a lot of folks. Do you see any trends that of kind of types of operators that folks are working on? Issues that they're hitting, anything like that?
Haven't seen too many trends lately, although we just, and you may have mentioned it, we had quite a few, we have quite a few storage operators now. And those storage operators, obviously, because they're manipulating the actual OS itself, they need host level access. And so we've gotten into manipulation of security context, security restraints, the SCCs, and OpenShift. So those being added to the OLM template. And that was for, what do we have? We have Robin in there, Rook, which you mentioned.
Georgia
Portworx
OS.
recently added, yeah, which is really awesome. Portworx is really cool. Um, and what else? Database stuff, yeah, definitely what you mentioned. Is definitely a hot topic. It seems like every day people are always asking about databases and Kubernetes.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is one thing I wanted to bring up. I'll share my screen again. Is one thing on the operator maturity model. We've been thinking about what it would take to start integrating more into the Knative and serverless triggers for operators. And I'm curious where folks think that that kind of falls in this maturity model. It starts getting into like, you know, in somewhere in the deep insights or the autopilot is being able to react in your operator to, you know, something showing up in either like an S3 bucket, like off cluster, or like a node going away, or a you know, some other operator emitting an event that you want to get triggered on, or even a Kubernetes event itself if like a node pool is scaling up and you need to do something. Um, it seems like it fits into like phase 4 in my opinion, but I'm curious what other folks think. So I could also see it like being targeted at phase 3. Um, you just never know.
I
And it, good.
to me, I'm not totally sure if that falls on the capability level of the operator. It seems more related to like the maturity of. It seems more related to like the life cycle of the operator itself rather than the application that the operator is managing. Unless I'm missing something.
Well, it would be if your application cares about something happening on the cluster, like if there was an event emitted for every new namespace and you needed to do something related to that. That's more at like the infrastructure level, but also it could be all kinds of other stuff, like just like basically all the Lambda type use cases would be, you know, this would be bridging it into the operator world, if that makes sense.
Okay, I guess I can kind of see that. I mean, yeah.
Are we aware of any current operators that do that?
I think Knative is so new that it's like unexplored territory at this point, which is why I bring it up now, is we're
Yeah,
just starting to kind of noodle on that and think about what that means.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think anything is happening right now just because Knative is so new. For folks familiar with Knative, it's basically there's three kind of different components of it. There's um, the build side of it, where you need to, you know, given like a JavaScript function or whatever code, you need to build that in a container so that you can use it on the cluster. There's a serving component to it, which is okay, I need to, given an HTTP request, I want to kick off this function to run. And so, serving it up over that. But also, the serving can be connected to the third part, which is the eventing part of it, which is a generic eventing mechanism for doing kind of service bus type things. And so when this event triggers run this function versus an HTTP request comes in and run this function. And so those are kind of the three parts of it. And so we're specifically talking about where do you plug in the eventing, because the framework kind of handles the build and serve for you. And we'll have an operator to install that, of course.
Yeah, to me it seems more like this is dealing with it's more on the level of talking about replacing the current system where operators are watching the Kubernetes cache waiting for changes to come in and then triggering actions based on that. It feels more like maturing that model and making it so that rather than having a process that's constantly sitting there waiting for events, that you would replace those with functions set to trigger on events that you map to. It seems more sort of fundamental inside of the operator rather than something that would necessarily be directly related to its capability level in this diagram.
That's fair. And I guess now that I'm hearing you say that back, you triggered something for me, which is I was kind of speaking about it as a consumption side of it, but it could also be on the creation side of these events, is when the operator makes a new database table or whatever, emitting events for that for other functions to then do something with, is also one side of it. Awesome. Well, let's keep noodling on that. And if you haven't seen Knative, go check it out.
We should add that as an issue probably to the operator SDK to add support for both sides of that. That would be a really nice feature inside the SDK to be able to use these events.
Yeah, it would be especially cool if we could get rid of the operator pod and replace it with the functions in the long term. If we had come up with an example of that, where your operator is just spinning up as it's triggered by these events on the API, rather than sitting there constantly.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think it does unlock kind of a new model. I mean, just serverless versus containers or versus VMs. Very different, just mentality shift. At the end of the day, you're still running code, of course. Awesome. Any other topics folks want to bring up, or else we can give you a few minutes back for your day on this nice Friday.
Hey, Robert, are you going to add those issues, or do you want me to do the operator SDK?
If you could do that, that'd be awesome. All right. So next time we'll meet in June on the third Friday. I'll hopefully have an event set up for you, and I'll also send this list of KubeCon sessions if folks are going to that. I'll be there, so I'd love to meet up with you kind of in the hallway track, so come say hi. And then, come to the workshop as well. It sounds like Suresh will see you there. All right, thanks, y'all. Have a good Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you.